Good afternoon, everybody, all the attendees. We are starting the webinar on the dairy industry, the global industry. We are discussing today in the COVID world, or rather the lockdown world or quarantine world, whatever we call it in our country. We are having a lot of participants from India and abroad today. So let me start introducing you this beautiful gathering of people who have been doing a lot for the dairy industry. Some of them have really given their entire lives to this to this sector, and some of the young people are there who we are expecting that they will further work for this industry, for the betterment of this industry. So we have most importantly, we have Dr. G.S. Rajoria, who is the president of Indian Dairy Association, IDA, and he is one of the very well experienced person. His age is around 84 years, if I'm not wrong. He has served his life to NDRI as a professor. We also have Dr. J.V. Parekh, a very well-known face in the dairy industry. He has done a lot of work for the dairy industry as a consultant, and he has supplied a lot of good technologies to the existing plants in India. He requires no introduction. Then we also have Caroline Imond. She is the Director General of IDF, International Dairy Federation. She is the very well-known face in the dairy circles. We also have Mr. Kulwant Singh. Kulwant Singh is a very well-known milk producer in Punjab, from Ludhiana. He's got a brand called Uttam Milk. We also have Mr. Samba Murthy, who's the head of milk business in Heritage. Heritage is a very well-known brand in South India, in dairy products, powder, ice cream, so many things. Heritage has got, and they've got a big plan for further expansions across the country, in India, all over. We also have Mr. Parag Patwardhan, one of the well-known machinery suppliers to the dairy industry. I think they have got. He's from Nichrome. Nichrome is the company which made first packaging machine for dairy industry in India. Before that, we used to import, I think, and they are a very well-known household name in dairy industry. A lot of installation across the country. So now I will request Dr. J.V. Parekh to give a note, welcome note to the audience, and please speak on the present situation, which is really challenging right now, and affecting a lot of businesses across the globe this time. It is not India's problem, but it's a global problem right now. So Dr. Parekh, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Firoz, for introducing the panelists and myself also. I would also like to thank all the participants coming from the different parts of the India, from the dairy industry. As you know, we are running through this COVID epidemic, and everybody has a problem, including the dairy industry. But if you see, this year started, basically problem was when this was a lockdown was started. I think it's from 15th of March to the 15th of April. The 1 month was very bad, which was almost a lockdown, for 21 days, starting from 24th March to the 15th of April. At that time, we find that a lot of problem was there in the supply chain as well as the quality safety of the milk. So this is the main problem we face all the private sector as well as the cooperative sector has felt. Wherein some of the example, we had also a lot of plenty of milk to take, and market gone down immediately. 15-20% market was down in the first phase of a lockdown, and everybody had a problem of disposal of the milk. Even some of the cooperatives like Amul, they could survive, but even though there was a procurement has gone down, and even the marketing about 15-20% was down during this period. But after 15th of April, what you will call lockdown 2, there was the improvement was there in the supply chain as well as the procurement of the milk as well as the supply chain into the consumer. So the main problem was there about getting the real market of the liquid milk, because most of the shops were closed, restaurants were not there, ice cream was not there, so a lot of problem was there for the marketing of milk products. So I got a strong logistic support like a private dairy, Parag Dairy or Amul Dairy cooperative, they could sustain, but otherwise lot of problem was. So this is initially it was started like this, but now we find that there is going to be happened a corona-wide revolution. Afterward, we find the fourth week of the April, and this month also we find that milk procurement has gone up, almost has got up in 15% up. Marketing also growing very fast. But we had a lot of problem of the safety of the milk during this coronavirus problem, starting from the from the farmers to the consumers. So when you are receiving the milk at the farmers level, at the society level, at the collection point, lot of care has taken by the big companies to providing them the mask, keeping the distance and the infection, other things. Same thing has happened with the transporter people also, taken care to disinfected the vehicles also, tanker also, and the milk was reached to the dairy plant. Dairy plant also we have got some guidelines now, how to keep the distance, isolation, checking the temperature of the employees, giving them accommodation there within the premises, providing them proper local transport also, so that should be properly can be managed. So all the things are happening now, very fine way going on. As like milk and the medicine are part of the essential commodities in India, we find that milk has been delivered every time in India, any parts of the India. In all the dairy industries, even the private and cooperative sectors are working. But we find that private people are, for the understand that not paying that much to the producer. I was just checking that today that the private companies are paying maybe 20 to 25 rupees, while the cooperative dairy as a whole may be paying 25 to 30 rupees per liter of the cow milk. But slowly now market is also growing up. But main problem was there with the liquid milk. So a lot of the milk was conserved and converted into the milk powders at this time because there was no liquid milk market. And there are so many dairy plants, particularly these powder plants, cheese plants, UST plants, those can have a milk conservation of the solid continue, and this is how things are moving now. Everybody has a stock of lot of milk powder, white butter, and cheese also. This is how the important step is. But basically now we are taking all the care in terms of safety wise to the dairy plant and seeing that how the consumer can get the product. Because we find now some areas are in a different lockdown, some are in a red area, Bombay is in a red area, some are in a other area, and the last is a green area. So distribution of the milk everywhere where the area is lot of logistics, transport was the problem. But I think slowly all the dairy industries are picking up. Even the milk procurement is going up. I was talking because Tirumala, Lactose Dairy, Amul Dairy, or even Mother Dairy, Tirumala, even the Heritage, all have, even Parag all have gone the milk going up processing. All are very busy now. Most of them are conservative in the milk quality. So these are the things are moving. So the dairy industry is now growing in a better way. Because now it is almost some ending of the May. Now this is about 9th week will be there of the lockdown. I think 18-20% of the area of the whole India is under red zone. So wherever there is a green or orange zone is there is a milk supply is going on, milk products are going on. Same thing happens with the milk products also. People are now buying more products at home, getting the milk, cheese, butter or yogurt at home. Even paneer market has gone up. So all these products have got market, but it's only consumed at home. Now there is nobody in a position to go to the restaurant or somewhere travel, so that has stopped. So domestic market of good quality, good brand, what we call sort of a immunity type of the product has grown up now in the market. So we find that 8-10% growth is there in the sales of the product, like the Heritage, Para, or even all are growing in terms of this. But basically this remain within the house, and everybody is finding that those who are use some immunity or some of the using this or terminating some of the other products. Some of the ingredients that milk has become immunity sort of a thing. With some of the Ayurvedic thing in say some of the products has been developed and it has got a lot of effect on this. So this is how things are dairy industry is moving. Then we have got some now package from the government of India, Ministry of our Animal Husbandry and the Dairy, which was announced by our Finance Minister this month only, which is giving some 15,000 crore for the infrastructure development for the private as well as the cooperative. So this milk, this money will be utilized to increase the milk processing capacity, maybe about 5 crore liters per day, and also there will be a generation of the employment about 30 lakh people. So there is a growth in the same thing. There is some money was also given, about 13,000 crores for the animal husbandry to remove the disease, mainly to make this foot and mouth free disease, which is a big problem with us and brucellosis also. For this also, some money 13,000 crore has been allocated to have a making the around, we have got about 53 crore animals in India. So only 1.5 crore has been inseminated. So there is a lot of scope is there also for this, and this budget is given. Some money is given about 100 crore for the working capital, which was subsidized working capital, I mean interest, I was told about 45%, but this will be mainly affecting to the cooperative societies only. So some of the private sectors also feeling that they may not be getting the benefit. But still, I think the picture is not very clear. So basically, now government has come also 3 lakh crore for this development of medium and scale industries, small, medium, and small, micro, small and medium industry. So for that also, dairy industry can get back. Now also, you find a lot of migrants are going back to the villages. So many may join to the dairy farming project also. They took the development of the what we call reverse migration, which will also help for to grow the more dairy farming and get the more employment. So industry is now doing very well. I think this year we don't have any shortage of the milk in this country, and I think most of the products will be branded, packed products, more hygienically. So you'll find a lot of automation will also come in this industry. The people want that untouched milk basically as high as possible, along like products like USP milk or some dairy whiteners. So there is a lot of scope will be there. It is a growing market. So these are some of the things is going to happen compared to Europe and America, where there are more problems than us. They have got plenty of the powders and white butter. It is difficult to them to dispose it of. So dairy industry in India is going in a right path and growing well with the government incentives and some of the other animal husbandry incentives. Gokul Yojana, so many other programs are there by our animal husbandry department, which will boost the milk production. So I think the whole situation for the dairy industry is what we call COVID white revolution. It is now seems to be happening. We had a very bad time before about 1 month up to 15th of last month or April. So I think that should be a very good scope. And I think the products which has got genuine good quality active products, some are basic products, fabric products, dairy products like butter, paneer. Paneer is also growing a big market. So all these things are now growing up, ghee, butter, even our this yogurt, which is also found good for the corona. So some of the products will grow, and we'll have some turmeric inside of the edition. The product has grown. And whatever the things are coming with this sort of a things, what we call about some of the problems for the private sector is facing about main reason blocking of a lot of money because of there is no immediate market for the white butter, ghee, or for the skim milk powder. So for that, some more working capital is required, and it may be treated along with the cooperative sector. So some more voice is required from the private sector to go ahead with this. Otherwise, these lot of benefits are there in terms of the as a whole dairy industry and the package. Also, you'll find a lot of other benefits are also coming up in different types of the products also. And we are also looking to reduce the GST, which has been charged, about 12% to reduce maybe 5% or even less if possible for the ghee and butter also. And also we find that the cattle feed plant also needs some benefits because cattle feed is becoming very expensive now. It is 50% expensive I was told what was earlier. So for that also we also GST on that can be also reduced. So government and the dairy industry, both cooperative and private, has to join together. So now we have got our secretary as our secretary for animal husbandry. He is very active and is very much involved. So I think we in the industry go in a right path. But now we have to be more safety norms. There will be more requirement of the hygienic in the every level from the production to the consumer. That will be very important for the industry to grow. So those who are with this type of quality products, more automation, untouched products, branded products, genuine products will grow certainly. And I think sky is the limit for the dairy industry to grow. I think this is what I think the dairy industry is on the right path. And I think thank you very much. This is what I thought.
Thank you, Dr. Parekh. Thank you so much. I think we have been joined by Devendra Shah in between. Devendra ji, welcome to the galaxy of these speakers. I will invite Devendra Shah. He is the managing director of Parag Milk company. They are processing around 20 lakh liters of milk per day, and almost having all kind of milk and milk products supplied in the market. One of the leading brand right now, leading private brand right now in India, in a world where the cooperatives have been dominating the business. Done wonders for the private sector also. And after his venture, a lot of people have started looking at the dairy industry very seriously. I will request you to please take over from me right now. And what are your views to the present situation and the challenges faced by the industry and the package released by the government of India? A few comments on that.
Yeah.
Devendra Shah.
In present situation, really from any disaster into the country or into the world, the first farmer are suffering. Even notebandi bhi jab aaye the, so first impacted is the farmer. Because, and this in Corona, the immediate in less very fast action, milk prices काफी reduced हुए because consumption in the urbans, in the metros, so basically liquid milk and other products immediately going down. Horeca segment जो है वो totally lockdown हुआ, seal हुआ, and some challenges in supply chain and distribution. Absolutely, there is a very good demand for the cheese, paneer, ghee into the consumer side. उसमें आप जितना कर सकते हो उतना कम है, पर at the same time the commodity product, the skim milk powder and the basically Horeca segment in the cheese, mozzarella cheese, and this it's look like a difficult for the next 2 months. And उसका impact तो major मैं future यही कहूँगा कि now people are eating habits are totally change. Home food ज़्यादा prefer करेंगे, जो metros में जो है वो 50 to 55% out of home जो consumption था वो totally change हुआ है. तो home food में जो prefer करता है, common आदमी भी, they want now good packaged food, branded food, hygiene, उसका assurance होगा, उसी के बाद वो he not related about any price. First he make sure कि ये जो product मुझे आ रहा है, safe branded product है, hygiene है, अच्छी condition में मेरे पास reach हो रहा है, and then he consume it. वो same जो Horeca segment में था, वो आपको अभी तक पता नहीं चलता था which ghee they are using, which butter they are using, or they are using the marginal butter. तो ये सब चीजें in future सारा replace होगा with a good quality of the dairy products. And काफी immune system के लिए भी ये prefer हुआ कि vegetarian source is better source for the you build your immune system. The paneer, cheese, and the dairy products consumption. That's why look like in nearby future consumption is going good, very high. But absolutely, farmers are suffering because of surplus milk. जो tea, coffee vendor, hotels, उसका टाइमिंग जो 2-3 महीना लॉकडाउन पे लॉकडाउन कवर हो रहा है, उसके बाद उसके लिए वो सफर कर रहे हैं. और मे बी इसका इन फ्यूचर इम्पैक्ट जो रहेगा कि फार्मर अपने जो प्रोडक्शन हाई लेवल पे जा रहा है वो मे बी रिड्यूस करेगा, फीड कम खिला रहा है, तो अगले फ्यूचर में 1-2 महीने 3 महीने में दिखेगा कि मिल्क जो है वो थोड़ा ड्रॉप हो जाएगा. और समर सीजन ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड, समर ऑन द पीक, and next June, July is challenging for the milk industry. Half the country is a buffalo and half the country is a cow. तो buffalo का तो सीजन ही 5-5.5-6 महीने का होता है, तो उसके वजह से भी जो है तो मिल्क प्रोडक्शन जो है वो भी डिमांड में कंटिन्यूस रहेगा, पर नेक्स्ट 1.5 month और 2 months जो है वो फार्मर तब तक सफर करेगा. बिल्कुल. एंड वी होप के गवर्नमेंट का फोरकास्ट है कि ये बिजनेस हमें डबलिंग करना है, उसके लिए जो भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने पैकेजेस अनाउंस किए, इट्स फॉर द लॉन्ग टर्म. पर शॉर्ट टर्म कोई भी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने या तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने कोई भी इमीडिएट पॉलिसी डिक्लेयर नहीं की है. सपोज टू एक्सपोर्ट सब्सिडी export powder or any products. Because worldwide prices are going down for all dairy products. Even USA farmer, they come on the street. Because USA में तो 90%, 85% food habit जो है out of home है, तो उनका तो consumption is very high. So USA prices are dipping very high. USA farmers are suffering. Same in Europe also. तो हमें वर्ल्ड में कहीं स्पेस नहीं है, कंजम्पशन हमें डोमेस्टिक ही कंजम्पशन बढ़ाना पड़ेगा।
देवेंद्र भाई, काफी अच्छा आपने एक आउटलुक दिया। वी गॉट a pretty first hand information from you, and this is really true that farmers are really in trouble, and industry, there has to be some activities from the industry. If not government, then industry has to come forward and help them. Now I will request Kulwant Singh ji, Managing Director of Supreme Agro, to please brief us about his views and activities especially in Punjab, since he comes from Ludhiana, about the present situation. Over to you, Kulwant ji. You can start from your side.
Namaskar everyone. As Dr. Parekh has given, I think, all the aspects, challenges and their solutions also. Anything I'll speak will be repetition of that. I really appreciate Dr. Parekh's this presentation. He has covered almost all the aspects of dairy industry. So I feel anything will be repetition. And later on, Dr. Shah, Mr. Devendra Bhai Shah has also given a very good, you can say, outlook of the private dairy industry also. So, जैसा Dr. Devendra Bhai ji ने कहा कि eating habits are not changing, consumption patterns are not changing. Punjab में what happens, there is a lot of retention in the villages. The milk is consumed in the villages themselves. People retain a lot of milk there also. And most of the milk is consumed by the general market also, like halwais, paneer makers, khoa makers, and all these people, which nowadays is almost closed. It has started, but still it is almost all closed. So there has been a surplus milk in the last 2 months, and a drop in prices was also there. But in the organized sector, there was no drop. Companies here like maybe Cooperative Milk Fed and then Nestle and all these big companies maintained the prices almost on the same level. So that's a good point for the farmers. But in the coming times, we feel that the challenge will be much more than what we have been seeing in the last 2 months, because there are a lot of stocks in the companies, particularly milk powder and butter fat, which is creating problems. So Dr. Parekh has already given the solution for this also, and some policy making by the government also. So I think that will be a very good point. So I feel that after all these things, I don't have to say much about this. If you ask for any specific questions from me, I can tell you them.
Yes, Kulwant ji, you are rightly said that people have really covered almost major points. Now I will invite Mr. Samba Murthy, head of milk division in Heritage Foods Limited. Samba ji, what is your view with the backdrop of South India experience, and with the backdrop where you were planning to expand exponentially in other parts of the country? So what is the activities now you want to share with the attendees over here?
Good afternoon to all. Thank you. This, first of all, I will touch upon this during lockdown period. So initially, once that lockdown is announced, during at least initially for a week of, we had problems even in movement of vehicles, basically distribution vehicles, tankers here and there. But the local state, administrations, local administrations supported a lot. Even they have even created some controls also. Then even our people are engaged for this for their control rooms actually. So they have managed actually, and they have supported local teams of local administrations have supported for smoothing the distribution in almost all the state in south, and we could able to supply, deliver on time to the consumers. Because of this lockdown, shops were not allowed to open actually initially till last 18th, till last 18th. State government allowed up to 12 o'clock or up to 1 o'clock and all. But whatever we could supply to them is the milk. Milk is the major, and followed by certain curd, something like that. So, but since shops are not opened, and this whatever we used to sell value-added products during summer season, that we missed the business actually. Summer season contributes high level of value-added products, which we could not deliver it because of this out of home consumption is not there. People are not moving outside and all, and that certainly value-added products consumption has come down, and thereby we have lost in the business from the value-added products. But certainly, as rightly said the previous panelists, and there is a increase in the consumption of paneer, ghee, and cheese. So certainly, but they have been sold in in the MRF stores or standalone stores like that, but they are not available in other outlets also. So certainly, it is consumption has gone up. Coming to this, of course, already mentioned panelists, earlier speakers already mentioned that we have lost volumes in Uraga segment, institutions and all. Okay, so overall loss during this period, maybe for us actually we are into consumer segment mostly. Probably in companies like in South India, mostly they will be, most of them have a loss of around 20 to 30% of business during this lockdown period. But coming to this hygiene practices at the plant, as per the direction from the government, the state government, central government, we maintained all hygiene sanitization measures to control this COVID corona disease at all the plants and all the at our selling points also, at our vehicles, everything that regular that is been happening, and then temperature measurement, everything is taken care. And all dairies, almost all the dairies have provided masks, even gloves, everything. That system is going on full-fledged manner. As mentioned, that even consumers also, we have again educated them. Once you receive the milk packet, that you have to properly wash it, then open it, then boil it. So like that, we have also promoted and educated them how to use this milk packets and all. Coming to the procurement side, just like Maharashtra, then in South, there is much of reduction in the procurement prices. That is one. Number two is that whatever milk we used to get it, we haven't even stopped the procurement. Whatever we used to get our farmers or other dairy companies, we used to accept that milk, and we whatever surplus is there, we rather converted into butter and powder. So that initiative we have taken, and we have not denied any milk from the farmers. Producers, we have given the support to them, and whoever gives the milk, because small dairies, probably those who are into the Horeca segment or institution supplies, probably they stopped taking the milk from them, procuring the milk from them. That companies like us already taken full amount of milk and converted it to SMP and butter. And going forward, based on this lockdown period, probably some lot of relaxations are coming up, and going forward, it going to be that gap, whatever gap is there, basically before pre-lockdown and then post-lockdown, that gap certainly will come down. And that earlier we used to face a lot of shortage of SMP, butter, even price have gone up like anything. Now that due to this also, then surplus SMP or whatever surplus, due to surplus milk, we are able to get milk powder and butter. That in future these commodities may be helpful, useful to us actually for the future, even till August, September. And as pointing it out in the procurement base, actually, as Mr. Devendra Shah mentioned, that buffalo track milk production is coming down. How it is maintained and little bit improvement is there, but procurement in particularly in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, that buffalo milk production is coming down. Probably it will be there till September like that, but cow milk production little bit increase is there. So we are not facing much of problem there. And going forward, yes, after post lockdown, maybe another 2-3 months. So probably it will be entire dairy industry in India will be maybe consolidated, and it will come into the regular on track actually. So that is what we are expecting it. And yeah, regarding you asked about the processing capacities, yes, yeah, because we are into the presence in 11th state, and we are probably setting up a plant near Mumbai that is going on. Because of this lockdown, this project is got delayed. Probably it will be completed in a few months actually. So this is based on this South India entire dairy side. This is the update.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samba Murthy. Thank you so much. Very to the point details you have given about the entire situation, especially in the southern region of the country. Now, my next speaker is Mr. Parag Patwardhan. He's from Nichrome, India, the leading machinery supplier to the dairy industry. And the reason why I have invited Parag today in this show is that he is not a manufacturer or a processor of milk and milk products, but he is in touch with them day in and day out, catering them. So what are your views, Parag, about the present situation?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to all the panelists also. Thank you, Firoz, for inviting me here. And then, as you said, yes, we are in touch with all the dairy manufacturers day in, day out. As you mentioned rightly, that for last 40 years, we have the legacy and experience to work closely with all the dairy manufacturers who are into packaging of either a flexible pouch or liquid in bottle or WMP, SMP packaging also. So what we see is that, yes, industry is facing the challenge with respect to demand and availability, with availability of labors also. There is a huge demand towards the hygienity also. Usually people will not or never speak about the hygienity with respect to liquid milk available. But then now people, their mindset and complete looking towards the liquid milk as well as the availability of liquid milk is completely changed. When we talk about the industry connect, now the request from industry is coming that since the labor is not available, probably running multiple machines to pack liquid milk is become a big problem. So people nowadays looking for a high-speed machine, which is a need probably with change or due to the COVID situation. And then probably whenever you talk about the high-speed machine, then probably we need to talk about the automation also toward the secondary collation of milk bags in crating also. So whenever we talk about liquid machines, as rightly said by Devendra Bhai also, probably a liquid milk becomes a commodity, and then there is a lot of focus toward the derivatives also, and then it is all going into Horeca, and then probably people are earning good amount of money also. But whenever we talk about running of dairy and generating the more, you can say, cash flow out of liquid milk, then we need to have a availability of liquid milk, fast processing of liquid milk, and then we should talk about the sustainability also. If at all we don't see the margin, then probably we need to have an investment towards the secondary automation so that we can reduce the dependency on the labor, and then we can have a, you can say, firm picture in front of us, how much milk can be processed, how much milk can be packed without any dependency also. Going ahead, what we see is that there is a huge demand with respect to packing of WMP, SMP, as mentioned by all the panelists here, that since liquid milk availability and distribution is the question mark. So people are having surplus liquid milk, and then they were not having avenues to sell that. That time they will probably use their powder plants to convert that into WMP and SMP. But then conversion of WMP, SMP, but then if they don't pack it, then also it becomes sometimes a challenge. And then there is a huge demand with respect to packaging of WMP, SMP also. And then there is a demand toward the packaging hygiene. So hygiene packaging toward WMP, SMP is again a good demand also. Then what we see is that there is a good demand with respect to derivatives like packaging of paneer, packaging of khawa, and then a lot of dairies are now thinking towards, you can say, diverging their main focus from liquid milk towards the milk sweets. Because in India, we have a good taste towards the all, you can say, traditional sweet. And then now dairies are focusing that. We have seen the example of Heritage, we have seen the example of Amul, we have seen the example of a lot of big dairies also. So there is also a very good demand of packaging of these sweets and making it available all across the market segment, and then with the extended shelf life also. So it is all about the demand, availability, and then hygiene, and then making profit out of the derivatives of liquid milk and Indian sweets also. So I think overall concept and overall you can say approach of industry from pre-COVID and post-COVID, it changed a lot. Now consumer is also started thinking about the hygienity. Consumer is also started thinking about the sustainability also. So I think it is good to talk about the future of dairy. And then I would like to hear from all the panelists also, and then definitely there will be some questions, and then I would like to answer the same.
Thank you, Parag. Thank you so much. Really crisp presentation from your side. Now the time has come. We have to. We have been waiting to hear Caroline Amond. She is the Director General of IDF. And Caroline, we are really sorry. We thought you are in Europe, and we fixed this time so that you are there in the daytime. We came to know you are in Canada, so it is again really challenging for you to get up so early and be available for this webinar. So Caroline, how do you look at the present situation, and how do you what is your view of the global milk industry, milk and milk products industry? Can you please give us your kind words on this?
Thank you so much for the invitation, and no problem. I'm pleased to be with you, even if it means getting up a little bit early. I want to say first that around the world, we've seen both governments and consumer recognizing the essential aspect of dairy production and dairy products. So this is a very good sign. We've seen government that have added dairy sector as their essential services to ensure a production during the pandemic. So we've seen both farming, milk transport, processing, distribution continuing during the pandemic. Milk remained at the top of food that have been bought by consumers around the world. And it's understandable, because actually people see the value of nutrition, also the good value for the dollar, as well as their cultural habits of using dairy products in their feeding of their family. The big challenges that we've been facing as an industry globally actually is to adapt the production with that new transformed demand. And that's what the biggest, and everybody mentioned it, the surplus having to face different realities in a very quick time. So we need to turn around very quickly. One thing I want to mention is that although this is a global pandemic and most of the disruption are similar in different countries, the solution are very local. And when I mean local, it's not just by country. It could even be by city inside of a country, because the realities are very different. So it means it's important to learn what others are doing around the world and be inspired on what kind of solution has been done elsewhere and that we could bring home to try to find, to face those disruptions. One of the biggest disruption has definitely been the suspension of food services. And by food services, we mean hotel, restaurant, cafe, but we also mean school meal program. The fact that schools have been suspended means that children are not getting their milk and dairy. So that's been a big disruption, that some countries have found very creative way of getting milk to the children, even though they're not at school. So that's one of the big disruptions, because school milk programs are an important part of the milk production. the tendency of cooking more at home as well as changing the habits, because they're not buying the same type of product when you're cooking for your family than actually when you are going into a restaurant elsewhere. A biggest impact as well is the change in revenue, because a lot of people have actually lost their jobs or are actually are facing economic crisis during this during the pandemic. So that has an impact as consumer on the product they will buy. And in some country, when actually a lot of earnings are in informal market, if they can go out of home to earn that living, then they have just no revenue, they can buy a product. So that has very big disruption. And the export market, I don't need to tell all the expert on the line, but also a lot of disruption on the international market. So people are actually processing and storing. So even storage capacity is becoming an issue in some country. And we know that when borders are more reopened, obviously those products will go into market. We've talked earlier with Mr. Shah about the farmers being affected. Obviously, surplus, reduction of price. In some countries, actually, some farmers might be, their survival is at stake. So obviously, as you mentioned, we need support either from government or for companies to make sure that we keep them healthy and alive to continue, economic viable as well, to make sure to continue to deliver. One important things that we've seen as well is because of those surpluses and the necessity of avoiding wasting of food, we've seen a lot of increase in donation to food bank and vulnerable persons. So that is actually positive. We saw that in a normal time, a lot of companies and farmers group are actually donating product. But during the pandemic, because of the surpluses, we've seen that increase, and government also taking a role into that. So it might be something that will actually live on after the pandemic as well. One thing we haven't mentioned is actually the interconnectivity of the food chain in the dairy sector. And that's something we've realized more with the crisis. There's a lot of connectivity and interaction in the production from the milk to the dairy product and its distribution and in its big global world. So that's something that we see and will be actually studying more the impact throughout the after the pandemic, because obviously you mentioned what's going to the world look like after. I think it's a bit early to know that. But one thing we know for sure is that it's time to start collecting all the learnings and the impact and try to make sense out of that. And that's the work we've undertaken at IDF. And we're going to do that during the summer. And so we hope that we can learn and adapt and develop flexibility when situation like that occurs. And we can learn from each other to better adapt to new reality. But one thing I can say is that I'm very proud to see the dairy sector has been very resilient and dynamic to adapt to the situation. As I said, we've seen in every country at different local and different region, all kind of ideas that have been put out, all kind of processing plans that have been transforming themselves just to make sure that we continue to provide the food and to nourish people around the world. So I'm very proud to see that. And all of you are contributing to that. So thank you for having me with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You rightly said, sometimes, we have to innovate and solutions are right next to you within the city or maybe your village. So global industry is really, coming with newer ideas and trying newer things, obviously. So now next one, my final speaker, Dr. G.S. Rajoria. But I think he's the most senior person right now in this group also. Rajoria साहब, आपके words बहुत matter करते हैं. Almost यहाँ पे भी इस gathering में भी we are having around 200 people right now. Many of them would be your students. What do you say? अभी जो situation है, present situation है, what is your take on that? Because this is also, even though you are of this good age, आपके भी ये पहला experience होगा. This would be your first experience of such situation. So what is your word on that? Please enlighten us with your good words. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I want to greet all of you, the panelists, and also the viewers on this wonderful program. we certainly know that there was a dip in the milk price initially because of disruptions in the transportation. In fact, the enforcement mechanism was not very clear during the early stages of lockdown. But things have now improved. Certainly, we have challenges in the milk supply chain, as mentioned by Devendra ji. Also, I fully appreciate that the food habits have also changed. People will like to consume homemade, homegrown foods. People are asking now with the scientific advancements, very safe and hygienically produced milk. Brand image is building. Those who have their own brands, you see, will have leadership in the market. Certainly, with the shutdown of hotels, restaurants, and catering establishments, also tea shops and halwai shops, milk supply in the market was reduced to the extent of even 30%. And now slowly halwai shops are opening. Tea shops will be allowed to open. There are now plans with the government that depending on the local conditions, the hotel industry will also be opened, and so also the restaurants. However, nobody is allowed to eat food while they will buy it and then they take home or eat wherever it is possible. People have been demanding export subsidy, and I think we shall certainly talk on this subject that these export subsidies should also be made open to private sector. So far, subsidies have been given to cooperatives, and we have got a huge stock of commodities like skim milk powder and also butter. Ghee, though there are stocks, has also a very serious problem of sale in the market because ghee attracts 12% GST. Demand from the industry is that if we can reduce this down to 5%, I recommend just reduce it to 0%, then the consumption of ghee will increase tremendously, because if we reduce it to 0%, then the price of ghee will be cut down by ₹50 per kg, and even those who cannot afford will be able to buy half a kg of ghee per month, and this will certainly increase the possibility of easing out the stocks of ghee. One thing that has been mentioned by many of our panelists is the problem of huge stocks of skim milk powder. It involves the requirement of a lot of capital. Farmers have to be paid. Who shall buy that skim milk powder? Today, the price of skim milk powder in the market is average 270 rupees. Before this COVID-19, the prices were as high as 320. Even the international prices of these commodities have come down. So there have been suggestions from industry friends that we should use this skim milk powder or whole milk powder in school feeding programs. Haryana cooperative dairies, for example, have started manufacturing whole milk powder with sugar and flavors to be distributed among the school-going children. And a lot of money is being allocated by the government for handling this social activity. There is a scheme that the problem of surplus milk, that the government has to increase the processing capacity. At present, you are all aware of the total milk that the country is producing. We just handle about 30 to 32% of this milk for processing, both in the cooperative and private sector. Cooperative sectors and private sectors are working, very closely, handling 15 or 14 each of these two sectors. But this, to improve the economics of farmers, we have to purchase all the milk, surplus milk that farmers are producing. And for that reason, we'll have to certainly increase the processing capacity. And the government of India has given, some funding for increasing the processing capacity, or doubling the processing capacity of India, so that in future, not only these commodity it was as mentioned, perhaps we could think of product diversification. This is the time that we should come forward with new product development. We know that there are many products in India which are very popular, but they are made at home or by itinerant traders, where the safety and hygiene are major constraints. So there is a need for the government and also private cooperative sectors to introduce the product diversification to make some kind of profits. Also, since packaging solutions are available, as Patwardhan has just said, I will suggest that we should go in for large-scale manufacture of Indian traditional sweets, because they are in great demand. You see, the amount of milk that goes into the production of Indian milk sweets far exceeds the total amount of milk that is being handled by both cooperative and private sector. Therefore, there is a great scope for the Indian dairy industry to handle the diversification. And we have got technologies, for example, National Dairy Research Institute and also National Dairy Development Board. They have technologies available for commercial production of these traditional dairy products. Now, private sector have been talking, they have been demanding some kind of support, like government is giving to the cooperative sector. Recently, interest subvention on working capital has been declared by the government of India for the cooperative sector. Cooperatives and private sectors, they work for the welfare of the farmer. And I will recommend that the interest subvention should also be made available to the private sector dairy plants, because as you know, our speakers have said that they also do a lot of servicing by providing inputs to the farmers. And obviously, we should not leave them, in high and dry position. It is important that the milk production and profitability of dairy animals with reference to small to large scale dairy farms should be considered to be increased. There is a shortage of fodders. We have got about 400 varieties of grasses, but we are only using only 30 grasses. And there have been very interesting developments, especially with the Napier Bajra hybrid. And this should be given a good trial, so that farmers will be able to reach out, to harvest very good yield from the animals. Animals have potential, but they should be fed properly. Artificial insemination did get a beating because of the problems of transportation. But now the government is picking it up, and obviously the artificial insemination services which were disrupted will be again put in place. We have got an advantage of migration of labor, especially farmers who have labor who have shifted from Punjab to UP or to Bihar. They are carrying with them a lot of rich experience of how the farmers in Punjab and Haryana are managing their high-yielding animals. These migrant laborers will carry this technology, and hopefully there will be growth of dairying in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. We must appreciate the view expressed by Caroline about donation of these commodities. Now, donations can be within the country, within the city or towns, or it could be outside the country. There are many countries in the world which are milk deficient. There should be some kind of, government to government interaction with regard to the supply of these commodities, which otherwise will lie, and then there will be problem of capital. How to, unless you recover the money from the sale, the farmers will have to be paid. So some of the observations which have been made by the panelists are worthy to be taken forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajoria. Thank you, Dr. J.S. Rajoria. आपके words really बहुत आपने अच्छा इस बात के ऊपर suggestions दिए, और whatever the proposals you have given to the government, some idea about it, really worth listening. I hope this will really help the entire dairy industry in a big way. Dr. J. Parikh, over to you. If you can add something to it, then I can close it.
I think Dr. Joshi is available. If you want to talk to Joshi, to call him. And if he's available on the line, then we can have 5-10 minutes and then we can close the session. But I think it was all interactive and a very interesting session. I think participation was so good. And many things has been understood now, but Corona, we have to make it well free from Corona free. And that way everybody has to be safe. We have to use the product more hygienic. That is more important. Keep the social distances, or in the plant, everywhere the mask, whatever. And the checking of the temperature of the animal, everywhere is very important, from the farmers to the final consumers. So basically, there are a lot of scope is there in the dairy industry throughout the world, but basically now to see that product is delivered and the confidence of the consumer should be built up sufficiently to our product free from any coronavirus or any other problem. To allow you for the analysis of Dr. Karin and Dr. Rajoria and Samba Murthy and our Mr. Parag and Devendra Bhai, especially to take your time, and the participants who have done the excellent interaction. And we look forward that you remain free, take care, and good time. Thank you very much on my side.
Thank you, Dr. Parikh. Thank you so much for your efforts to put everybody together and for this webinar suggestion. I will also thank each one of you with my folded hands that you become a part of this webinar today and enlightened us so well that we can plan our future. The industry can plan their future, how the things are going to work for them, especially for the benefit of the farmers and the consumers, and also the industry. So I would thank Ms. Caroline from IDF, Dr. Rajoria, Mr. Samba Murthy, Mr. Kulwant Singh, and Mr. Devendra Shah and Dr. J.V. Parikh. Thanks for your attendance over here. And we hope we'll catch up soon again with some more topics if they come, and have such kind of activities more often.